So Miss J Alexander, the legendary runway coach from America's Next Top Model, suffered a major stroke on December 27, 2022. And when I say major, I mean he was in a coma for 5 weeks, and he lost the ability to walk, and he lost the ability to speak. Now, mind you, his entire public identity was built on movement, posture, his voice, and his presence, and that was taken away from him overnight. And not once in the 3 years since his stroke has Tyra Banks come to visit him in person. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already, and we're going to jump right into this. For those of you who may not be familiar, Miss J wasn't some random side character on America's Next Top Model. He described himself as the spine of the show, and I really agree with that description. He was a runway coach getting the girls together, and he was a big personality on the show. The show benefited from his personality and his fashion authority, and his chemistry with Tyra was part of the formula that made the show what it was. So when news came out through the Netflix documentary that Miss J had suffered a stroke back in 2022 and spent weeks in a coma, people were shocked because most of us didn't even know that he had been sick. Now, medically speaking, a stroke severe enough to leave someone in a coma for weeks is typically either like a massive type of stroke caused by a large blood clot that blocked blood flow to a significant portion of the brain, or a hemorrhage type of stroke where a blood vessel ruptures and bleeding causes swelling and pressure inside the skull. So from what I've researched, when large areas of the brain are affected, especially regions that control consciousness, movement, or speech, the brain can essentially shut down into a comatose state, and it sounds like that's what happened to him. And so a prolonged coma like that often indicates extensive injury, and recovery usually requires long-term rehabilitation to regain motor skills and regain language function. And according to his own statement, when Miss J woke up, he couldn't speak. He couldn't walk, and he had to relearn basic functions, and he's been in recovery ever since then. So Miss J said that fellow former America's Next Top Model colleagues, Jay Manuel and Nigel Barker, visited him in the hospital. They showed up for him when they didn't have to and when it didn't benefit them. It wasn't filmed or anything. But Tyra has not visited him in person. Miss J shared that Tyra has sent messages and expressed that she wants to visit, but she just hasn't actually visited yet. And Miss J put heavy emphasis on the yet part, and he didn't bash Tyra for not being there for him. He gave Tyra so much grace in that documentary, and he kept it cute in a way where you could tell he could say more if he wanted to, but he was choosing not to. And to me, it seemed like he was trying to stay positive, probably because of all he's been through. It's best to have a positive mindset. But as a former fan of the show, I can say this. I feel like professional relationships can look like family. It can look like friendship when the cameras are rolling and when the checks are rolling in. Everyone is useful to each other. There's mutual benefit. But the real test of like a friendship happens when someone is no longer useful to the other person. And it seems that once Tyra fired Miss J after cycle 18, he was no longer useful to her. And that's when the relationship really ended, in my opinion. When he was no longer working for her and putting his talents toward making her dreams come true, that's when the relationship was over. And her not coming to visit him after he had a stroke is just proof and confirmation that they no longer have a connection. And what he might have thought was a real friendship was really just a working relationship where people were useful to each other. But y'all leave a comment and let me know what you think. Do you think Tyra and Miss J were ever truly friends? Or is it unrealistic to expect like true friendship in the entertainment industry? And let me know if you've ever experienced someone quietly stepping back from you once you were no longer useful to them. Because I feel like a lot of relationships are based on utility, whether you actually work together or not. They're based on utility. So y'all leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. And if you made it this far, make sure you're subscribed and click the bell.
Slow it down. Okay. Break it.